Stop the discharges now! Stop the discharges now!
University and professional and technical employees. We represent 17,000 workers at the UC system. We have a healthcare unit, a research unit, and an IT unit, technology unit. And our healthcare workers, we have case managers as well as social workers who are very concerned because they send their patients to Laguna Honda, and they're very concerned that those vulnerable, frail patients will be facing death if they leave, if they are forced to leave Laguna Honda Hospital. Our union has always been a supporter of single-payer and universal health care and has always opposed the privatization of public resources. In this case, the issue of prime real estate, as many people know in San Francisco, always seems to end up harming the most vulnerable. And in this case, we're dealing with elderly patients. My grandmother was a patient here as well when she had a stroke at 84 years of age. She was here for 6 months and received excellent care. I was able to regain her speech and her thinking and everything, and full mobility, thanks to the workers here. And we as a city, San Francisco, we need to continue to support, and we need to support this institution and demand that San Francisco government take over and be able to fund this entity and to help it get recertified again, but without reducing the beds by 120. Reducing the beds does not make sense. What kind of support can we provide elderly patients by getting them discharged and reducing the support and the services that they're getting? I think that we need to recognize that we are living in California is a Democratic Party state. We are supposedly a Democratic Party city, but it seems like the Democratic Party is MIA, and in fact not only MIA on this issue, but rather directly responsible for not getting the services that they need, and directly responsible for putting this kind of terror on top of the heads of the patients here, the possibility of their getting discharged. We need to name things clearly, and we need to hold all of our leaders accountable, whether it would be for luxury housing or senior housing or whatever. This site should not be for housing. The site should be continuing to support the skilled nursing facility. It's the only skilled nursing facility available to people on Medicare and Medi-Cal. The only one. It's a public resource, and we need to maintain our public resources. Thank you. And my union passed a resolution in October of last year opposing the closure of Laguna Honda Hospital. My union, which represents 17,000 workers in the state of California. UPTI. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And again, this press conference rally has been called to defend Laguna Honda Hospital, to demand that there be no threats of discharge. This attack on Laguna Honda has been going on for years. It's not new. We believe that behind the attack on Laguna Honda is people want to privatize, and they want to turn this into luxury condos. That's really what this is about. There's a privatization drive to get this land. That's really what it's about. And at the hearing that was held yesterday at the Board of Supervisors, somebody asked, in San Francisco, we have Nancy Pelosi, who was the chair of the Democratic Party. We have Dianne Feinstein, who's a leading Democrat. We have Kamala Harris, who's vice president. We have Xavier Becerra, who's the Secretary of Health and Human Services. We have them in the U.S. government. Why is this happening? Why are they allowing this to happen? And the reason is, in our view, is that they represent the corporate interests. They represent those people who want to privatize this facility. That's why it's happening. With all the power that the Democrats have right now, they're in charge of California. It's not the Republicans. It's not Trump that's in charge of California. It's the Democrats. Why are they shutting it down and discharging people? And we have to say that this facility has a history of the management, corruption, and incompetence. Dr. Derek Kerr was a doctor here. Maria Rivera Xavier was a doctor here. They both exposed the fact that there was malfeasance. The CEO here was taking money, using it for parties and not for the patients. What happened at this facility under Ed Lee, under the politicians? They fired the doctors who were trying to stand up for the patients. So that was, they didn't fire the CEO. So these CEOs at the hearing yesterday said it's all the fault of the federal government, it's all the fault of the state government. They bear responsibility for what's happening here today. Not just the city of San Francisco, but also the state government, Gavin Newsom, and the Xavier Becerra, who's Secretary of Health and Human Resources. So we're going to have now a song, we're going to have some speakers. Also, there are some healthcare workers who are coming. We're going to talk about the crisis in the nursing industry because there's no place to put the patients and residents here. That's a fact. Patients cannot go any place, and when they're put someplace else, they die. So we also have Christina Gutierrez, who is a resident, a fighter in San Francisco for human rights, worker rights. Welcome, Christina. Christina.
I don't know. You know, this is so hard to really be confronted with this type of situation. To realize that we live in a nation that gives money to war, but want to close the hospitals, refuse to home the homeless, don't deal with police brutality. You know, it's hard, it hurts, it hurts. It hurts to know that we live in that type of society. These places are essential for working class people, for poor people. But they don't care. So we go to war and we have trillions of dollars to war, but we want to close the hospital here for the poor people. That's what this country is all about. We put trillions of dollars on war, but we refuse to home the homeless. We have medicine that can cure people, but we hide it in order to make profit out of it and let people die as consequences of the lack of that medicine. But the more sad thing for me is that we all can put an end to it. That we, the people, have the power to put an end to it, nobody else. No politician, nobody else has the power that you and I have. The moment that we organize and we unite and begin to demand what is right for the people and fight to build a society that is there to love and serve all people regardless of the color of the skin, of the money that they make, of the social status, or where do they live, then we'll be able to have a good, beautiful world and society in which we live in peace with one another and in harmony. So that's why we're asking all of you to demand of the politicians of this city to take care of our people and to do not dare close this place that is essential to the elderly, to the people who are sick, to those who don't have the means to go ahead and find any kind of private place to be taken care of. That's all I have to say. It is up to you and I, brothers and sisters. It is up to you and I. And that's why we come here today. Because we know that we need to let you know that you have the power to end the madness. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you, Christina. And as everyone knows, Laguna Honda is really an institution of last resort. Many people, many residents here of San Francisco absolutely need this. It's a lifesaver for them. They would die, and they have died as a result of not getting proper care. There aren't enough beds in San Francisco for seriously disabled and injured people who need this kind of care. So what we're talking about here is the protection of working class poor, black, brown people in San Francisco, Asian, who cannot afford decent health care. They can't afford $7,000, $8,000 a month. They need Laguna Honda, and it's a great facility. The workers are trying to do the best they can, but they have spent $26 million on consultants here to supposedly make it work, pass the inspections. I have to ask, we have to ask, why have they spent $26 million on consultants when they refuse to hire the professionals who can make this place work properly? This is a real question we have to ask. Because they have people in charge, London Breed and the others, they have people in charge who are incompetent. They're incompetent and they're not really representing the people of San Francisco. So we have to say, save Laguna Honda, stop the discharges. 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 Save Laguna Honda. Now we have with us a labor troubadour, Pat Vahey, who has written a song. He's going to do a song, and we have a number of other speakers, community people, and healthcare workers who are going to talk about this crisis. So welcome, Pat.
All right, testing. All right, well, thank you. Thank you for all the people that came to attend. And I'm happy to say that Steve urged me to write a song specifically for this situation. And already, all of the people who have spoken so far are like in the verses. They've already said half of the song already. So thank you. So thanks for singing there. So anyway, this is a song, Which Side Are You On? I also wanted to say that I hope that we have like a bigger, I think what Steve was calling for was, having a bigger vision on how to solve not just this situation, because this situation and homelessness and hospice care and housing shortages are all the same problem. If we had a Medicare for all, we would not be here. Other countries have problems just like this, but they have been able to manage those problems. And we're not managing those problems well. So anyway, so thank you for all the prior speakers for speaking half of the song already. So let's practice now. Which side are you on? 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 For more than half a century, Laguna Honda has been good to heal the sick way back to health in this neighborhood. But these days we have a crisis. Managed care ain't coming through for the very folks that it once served. What are advocates to do? What do know? Which side are you on? 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 Let's push CDPH and CMS and the city too to end this manufactured crisis. So here's what we're going to do. Stop the privatizing public services like charter schools are doing. Draining funds that help society. Who do they think they're fooling? Which side are you on? 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 Get care to the least among us who live their lives with belief that the prior generation cares for them. So let's give them just relief. Laguna, what a shame it would be if with problem we don't fix. Laguna Honda's been around since 1856. What will we tell the children if they have to ask us all one day what we did for justice when they were taking it all away? Which side are you on? 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 We're done with pausing anything. Let's make our case to call. To fund a U.S. Marshall Plan and Medicare for all. We can put an end to homelessness and fund hospice care as well. If we turn capitalism upside down and send the fascist class to hell. So So which side are you on? Which side are you on? Oh, which side are you on? Now, which side are you? I can't hear ya. Yeah. Which side are you on? Side are you on? Which side are you on?
Bravo!
All right. Yes, a U.S. Marshall Plan for the United States and Medicare for all. If we had that, all of these problems would become manageable. Okay? Anyway, I look forward to other comments as well. And thank you also, the Canberra people, for being here as
Tax
well.
the rich! Yes.
Eat the rich.
So the sun is coming. The sun is coming out for our rally and press conference. I think that that's a good sign, because we're going to keep this facility open. We're going to allow it all, expand the beds, 712 beds. The people of California passed a tax thing for $500 million, $500 million to rebuild this facility and to make it a world-class facility. So it's the best, one of the best facilities in the United States, public facilities, for people who are injured, people who have serious ailments. It saved thousands of lives. So the question we're asking is, why are they talking about discharging patients? Why are they talking about closing it down? And what we're saying is that this corruption that's going on here by the management, how can they spend $26 million on consultants? Think about that. $26 million has been spent on consultants when you have highly skilled professionals who could be running this place, who know what they're doing, and they're spending money on consultants. They're also privatizing healthcare with Health Right 360. They want to outsource healthcare to make a profit. That's really what it's about. And we have to say we have to defend public services. As a matter of fact, the nursing homes in California should be publicly run. They shouldn't be run by billionaires who are more interested in profiting off the sick and elderly than they are in than they are for profits. I mean, that's what it's all about. And in California, there are very few regulators in California of these nursing home care facilities. This facility has been fined by California because they haven't properly kept it up. Why is that? Why is that? They've known for years there's a problem here. Why are they being fined? And they say at the hearing yesterday they're going to fight these fines. They're going to beat the fines. Why are we spending tax dollars? The city attorney, Chu, is spending money on fighting complaints about the improper procedures at this hospital. What is really going on? This is what we have to ask. What is going on? What we're saying is there has to be open transparency, which there's not. There has to be a united campaign of healthcare workers, of residents, of community people in San Francisco to protect this facility. What we're saying is that we need a real political alternative, because it's the Democrats in charge. We can't blame Trump. We can't blame the Republicans for what's happening here. This is not a problem of the Republicans. It's a problem of both the Democrats and Republicans. And it led to deaths. Now, what we're also saying is the people that were discharged, the patients, the residents who were discharged and died, the 12, who is being held accountable for that? We want to know who is being held accountable for the deaths of 12 patients and residents here. What we say is the people that were responsible for the discharges, Dan Bernal, who's the chair of the San Francisco Health Commission, he's Nancy Pelosi's chief of staff. Where is Nancy Pelosi? Where is Nancy Pelosi? The chief of staff of her office is actually approving the discharge of patients to homeless shelters. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. It's a workers. It's a public workers, it's the city workers who need this facility. The healthcare workers here try to do the best they can under very stressful conditions. As I said earlier, there were more patients lost at nursing homes in California from COVID than here, because here they had some protection and they had better PPE and protection that they have in nursing homes. So we're here to say, defend Laguna Honda, stop the discharges now. Defend Laguna Honda, stop the discharges now. Defend Laguna Honda, stop the discharges now. Defend Laguna Honda. Stop the discharges now.
Well, they actually have stopped them until next November 23rd,
May
2020.
May 19th, yeah.
It's November 19th. You know, it's November 23rd, 2023. That's the pause that they have. What I said in the song is, we don't want any more pauses. We want them to continue it ad infinitum and find the funding continuously. So the reason why we're all here is because they had February 2nd as the at least date for pause. What is going on here? So now they've extended it. So funding that is the California Department of Public Health and the CMS have. And the city has come to an agreement to continue things until November 23rd, 2023. But what happens then? It's still just a band-aid, right? We haven't solved the fundamental problem yet. Anyway, just to clarify that.
Something happens to institutions when they're put on hold and pausing like that, where the morale of workers who are putting their all to try to do a good job, they're not sure of their future, and they're not sure of their future. They're not sure if they're going to have a job. So that's like a slow death. To put things on pause in that way, it's almost like a slow death, not only for the patients who don't know what's going to happen, the families who are, going to be trying to look for alternatives and not find any. Yeah, he's got that turned on. You can hear it. Yeah. So there's something that happens to institutions when they're put on this perpetual pause. Workers that work there and are trying to do a good job don't know if they're going to have a job later on, and the patients and their families don't know whether or not they're going to have health care, or the treatment facility is going to be here, or the skilled nursing facility is going to be available to them, and that generally results in a slow death. And to answer, Steve's question about what they're doing with those consultants. Generally, consultants are called in more of the time to see how they can transition things with least problems as possible into a privatization mode. That's basically probably the plan of these consultants, is how to do it in a way that will create less awareness among the public in a more slow motion way. And we should be aware that that is probably their intentions. I'm saying probably because obviously I don't have the proof in the pudding, but what we've seen with all of these privatization efforts in our healthcare system, we've seen defunding of our resources, and we've also known that Mercy Housing has its eyes on the property, this very high value property that is located here at Laguna Honda, to create senior housing. Well, they don't need to create senior housing here. We need skilled nursing facility. We need to continue with the amount of people and actually be able to expand the resources. And San Francisco and the Bay Area is one of the richest counties in the country. We have Silicon Valley millionaires here, billionaires here. And so there is no reason for elderly people to be thrown out of a skilled nursing facility. We should have top-of-the-line skilled nursing facilities for here. We should have Medicare in California at least. We should have Medicare for the rest of the country as well. But California, which claims itself to be such a democratic state, but which over and over and over again has denied, including in their platform, Medicare for all or universal health care, in the richest county in the state, in the country. It's a shame. It's a major shame. So we don't want any more pauses. We want a commitment from our Democratic Party or whoever's on top there. We want a commitment that they will be funding this, and they will expand the services, and they will provide the services that our people need.
Fully staffed.
Fully staffed with professionals. And stop paying consultants $26 million to figure out a way that they can take it away from us without us knowing about it. Thank you.
Lisa.
Hey!
So I was just informed by one of the workers here that they didn't even know that there had been an extension till May the 19th. why aren't our unions really standing up and mobilizing? We should have thousands of people out here today. Really, this is a life and death question for our community, and we have a right to have this public facility, a skilled facility that will take care of people who have been injured and residents that need to stay here. They're fragile and they need to be protected. So this is a basic human rights issue. And as we said earlier, the reason that they have this crisis is because not only the incompetence of the management and Ed Lee and the cover-up of corruption at the management level, but also they want this land. They look at this land as an opportunity to develop condos, luxury condos. That's really what's happening in San Francisco. Every little spot in San Francisco, especially in Forest Hills, is valuable, and they want luxury condos. That's why, even though you have a Democratic Secretary of Human Resources, Health and Human Resources, Xavier Becerra, you have a Governor Newsom, who's from San Francisco, and is in charge of the Department of Public Health, and you have a Democratic Mayor, London Breed. You have 3 Democrats and Nancy Pelosi who have powerful positions, and they can't stop the closure. They can't stop the discharges. What is going on? This is what we're asking the people of San Francisco. We believe there has to be a mass movement. We believe there has to be a united front between healthcare workers, between people in the community, between homeless, between people who need healthcare. As Lisa was saying earlier, why don't we have single payer in California? Why don't we have national Medicare for all? We can have that in California. So we're organizing for a united front. We have to unite the healthcare workers. We have to unite the home care workers. The last time we were here, the sheriffs had surrounded this place so we couldn't go into the facility. So this is how much they care about. We were going to have a press conference right up there. They wouldn't allow it, but we felt actually it's better to do it right here where people can see the support for Laguna Honda. The people that come by can see the support for Laguna Honda. So we have to build a united front of the healthcare workers, all healthcare workers here in San Francisco and California, of the community, and of all unions, because our right to basic health care, our right to protect Laguna Honda is critical for the health and safety of all people. So the next speaker is Bill Sparks, who's a retired laborer from the Laborers Union. Welcome, not Bill Sparks, Charles Minster, who's a retired laborer. Welcome, Charles.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Thank you. Hello, brothers and sisters, comrades. You know, the Democrats in this country are trying to prove to the billionaires that they're just as loyal as the Republicans. In 1980, when Reagan was elected president, the first thing that Reagan did as president was to put the striking air traffic controllers leadership in chains and put them in jail to break the strike of the air traffic controllers. The second thing he did was to close all the public health service hospitals in this country. Now, they were the first socialized medicine in the world, created by the Constitution in 1798, eventually became the Marine hospitals to take care of all the merchant sailors who had to pay for this. They paid for those hospitals. And around after the Civil War, many Civil War veterans who were maimed by the war were rehabilitated in those hospitals. There was 28 hospitals around the country. They were closed because they were an affront to private enterprise in this country. And that's what Laguna Honda represents to the bloodsuckers in this city. This is taking money out of their coffers. They can either, now you know what happened to the Marine Hospital in San Francisco? It's now an upscale apartment house. That's what became of that hospital. Laid fallow for decades, and now it's an upscale apartment house. That's what that to them is progress. Private property, taking away what workers and others in this country have struggled for throughout the centuries, and giving it to private enterprise. Look what's happened to the National Health Service in Britain. It's about to collapse because of the same process. So if we can't defend this, we're not going to get anything better. And we need nationalized health care under the control of the workers, not paid consultants. When we have that, and the only way we're going to get there is with a political party that breaks from the Democrats and fights for our power. The workers and the oppressed of this country take power, and they run this country because these goddamn billionaires, you see what they've done to this country and the world. And as long as we let them control it, we have nothing to look forward to.
What is going on here today is not isolated. It's going on all over the country. Nurses are stressed out, and nurses are under attack by the private healthcare industry. I mean, if you look at what happened with the mental health workers, National Union of Healthcare Workers, they were on strike and they weren't providing appointments. Even though I'm a member of Kaiser, you're supposed to be entitled to an appointment for mental health care, they weren't making them. Why is that? Because Kaiser, like these other so-called nonprofits, are putting money in their pockets. It's a business. It's a production business. And what is the state doing about it? What is the state of California doing? These executives should be in jail. The people who killed these patients should be charged with crimes. They knew that they would die. That's a fact. 12 people did not have to die. They allowed the discharges. And Dan Bernal, who's the chief of staff for Nancy Pelosi, who is allowed the Commission on Public Health to vote for this, where is he? Where are these people? You know, at the hearing yesterday, they said they had spent money, millions of dollars on consultants. Why do you have to hire consultants to run a facility like this? There are many professional people who have training, who have degrees, who can do it. What's consultants about is profiteering. That's really what this is about. It's about profiteering. That's what's driving this, and that's why we're here today. We're saying enough is enough. No more discharges. There should be fully 712 patients here. They're limiting to 2 a room. You can have 3 a room, and they can make an exception, the federal government. Xavier Becerra can make an exception. They're refusing to do that. Why? Because they know that the nursing homes are understaffed. The nursing homes are underregulated. The nursing homes they're not enforcing the regulations that they have. You can have all kinds of health and safety regulations. You can have all kinds of staffing regulations. But if you don't enforce them, they don't mean anything. In California, there are less than 200 OSHA inspectors for 18 million workers. There are health and safety violations. Workers here are being bullied. They're being bullied and harassed, the workers at this facility, Laguna Honda facility. And what is the mayor doing about it? What are they doing about it? Nothing. So those are some of the issues that we're addressing here today. We're saying enough is enough. Stop the discharges, defend Laguna Honda. Stop the discharges, defend Laguna Honda.
I just wanted to buttress what Steve was saying with a little bit of information, and this is like old information. It's like a year-old information that the influence of the Medicare Advantage is growing. That's one point I want to make. And that we're all getting bombarded with calls and emails and mail offerings for Medicare Advantage plans. I'm sure you know. And the term Medicare is a misnomer. It's not Medicare. It's a private, that's the private side of, that was signed in when Obama allowed the insurance industry to write the rules. And so that's what that is. And so private equity hospice transactions rose nearly 25% between 2011 and 2020. And so it's up now. And an estimated 16% of Medicare hospice enrollees received care from either a private equity-owned or a publicly traded hospice company in 2019. That's up 11% since 2012. Now remember, this is old information. In response to that, to public pressure, congressional Democrats have begun probing the role of private equity in the healthcare space. So much of the focus was on nursing home investments, but congressional eyes are starting to turn toward hospices. But congressional action is way behind the curve. You know, all they can say is, this is a quote, this is their quote, that these buyers may face higher levels of regulatory scrutiny than they have in the past. So that was a point to underscore what Steve was saying. You know, there's a lack of regulation because there's so many sides to this. And if they don't see this as a unified problem, a central problem, a lack of national health care, that's why the song calls for a U.S. Marshall Plan and Medicare for all, because we wouldn't even be here if this were the case. Right now, we have a problem here in California that's relatively smaller than it is in the red states, where nurses in the post-pandemic era, the reason why we have a nursing shortage nationwide is because they were burnt out. They were stuck with 25 and even 50-to-1 staffing ratios. And a lot of the nurses are in weak unions or they're gig workers, they're gig nurses. So it's a huge problem. As soon as you leave California, it's a much bigger problem. There's a place called Haven for Hope in San Antonio that has an entire 22-acre campus that's fully staffed with medical, psychiatric, physical education, and extended education services, fully staffed. Now they're starting to have problems too, but they have the best solution in the entire United States. Why isn't Mayor Breed sending delegations there and using a possible, fully staffed facility here? I mean, we have the Cow Palace is a 62-acre campus. For the $1.25 billion they've spent, they could take 1/10 of that, retrofit the Cow Palace, and fully staff that with medical, psychiatric, physical education, and extended education staff right now, instead of doing the spinning wheels. So why are they not doing that? And I just interviewed Dr. Mary Thoreau of the Independent Institute, a conservative. And I think she's a problem solver. So I think we have to overcome the divide between liberal and conservative and just go for problem solvers, because that's a big one. And if you want to know the name of it, it's called Haven for Hope. San Francisco, Haven for Hope. Check it out. It is running into its problems now, but California, San Francisco could be a model for the United States on making such a facility. Okay, thank you.
This is not going to be the last action that we're going to be having, because we have to build a movement really in San Francisco, in California, and nationally for a single payer. We've just been through a terrible COVID pandemic. People are still dying, 500 a day from COVID. And this is the time to have national health care. This is a time to get the billionaires out of control of the healthcare industry. Why are people profiting from death, from health care? I mean, we need to get the money to go to healthcare workers and not the billionaires who make profit from healthcare. And unfortunately, even though Newsom promised that he would support single payer, and when he got in, he refused to support the bill for single payer. So we need a united campaign with healthcare workers, with nurses, for a single payer system so everybody can be covered. As we all know, this facility is actually for people on Medi-Cal, people who have no place else to go. That's what this facility is for. So if you shut this facility, if you discharge people from this facility, they end up going to a place where they're not going to be taken care of, and they die. That's really what's happening. It's not just a problem here, it's also a problem in Turkey, in many countries, in South Africa, in Canada, in UK today. There's a mass strike of healthcare workers, of educators, because they're privatizing the National Health Service in Britain. They're doing the same thing. And you know, Kaiser is in Britain trying to privatize their healthcare system. They're doing such a good job here that they want to go to Britain and privatize the National Health Service. This is an international campaign, and one of our speakers is going to talk about the situation in Turkey and healthcare workers.
Thank you all. The problems we are seeing at Laguna Honda, or in general in the healthcare system, is not unique. This is what capitalism is in the healthcare. Capitalism is in the business of death. And this is happening all over the world, as Steve mentioned. They have collapsed Britain's healthcare system. And now Turkey is going through exactly the same procedure. The doctors are being beaten because they do not allow people to come into surgeries. And the health minister personally owns several hospitals. Another minister who administers pharmaceuticals is selling her husband's medicine to all over the hospitals. And now the entire health system has been given to religious sects. And they have the complete control of who they can admit or who they will not. And we know as well that those who do not have the money don't even come close to the gates. This is capitalism. This is how it goes. And when the doctors protested that they were working 20-hour days, 16-hour days, the president comes up and says, leave if you don't like it. So this is capitalism, and it is complete collapse. When you bring money into healthcare, you are going to be dealing with deaths of people. This is what we are seeing, and this is a nosedive for the healthcare, for the people. The only way this could be stopped is not by legislation, not by begging on our knees, but this is going to be stopped on the streets like this. We're going to come in and stop it. Otherwise, they are going full force. They are going to take over our healthcare, and they are going to destroy it for the benefit of the billionaires and turn our hospitals into beauty centers, as we are seeing happening in Los Angeles. Thank you.
It's really a crime that in this city, with all the wealth in San Francisco. San Francisco is one of the richest cities in the world. There are over 80 billionaires. California has over 170 billionaires. You'd think with all this wealth in California, they couldn't provide health care for all. They couldn't provide public hospitals like this for all people in California. They can. They can provide that, but they're not. And why is that? Why are they not providing decent, great public health care for all people in California? And the reason, as Mehmet said, is people want to make profit off of health care. People want to make a business out of health care. These profiteers who run the nursing homes, who run the so-called nonprofits, are more interested in profiteering off of health care than they are protecting the residents. And in San Francisco, you have a great tragedy because we have one of the greatest public hospitals in the country, in the United States, and they're discharging patients. They say we have to discharge patients. And they at the hearing yesterday, they said that they were trying to do better, and they had spent a lot of money, millions of dollars. They didn't mention the figure $26 million. But think about that. $26 million have been spent on consultants to make this place operate properly. I mean, do you need $26 million to pay for consultants to have this facility operate properly? If the doctors manage it, if the workers manage it, you would have better management of this facility than these politicians, than these consultants. The consultants are about making profits. They're not about taking care of the people of San Francisco and making sure this hospital works. Why? Why is San Francisco spending $26 million on consultants in this hospital when they could hire professional staff to make this hospital run? It used to run very well, frankly. The doctors here, the staff, they are concerned about the patients. They love the patients. They want to protect the patients. So it's not the staff and the doctors, it's something else. It's a system that we're talking about, a system that is driving this crisis in San Francisco and around the country. We need health care for all, we need Medicare for all, and we need this hospital to be run by the doctors, by the workers, for the interests of the people and not for the profiteers who want this land, and that's really what this is about.
So since we're talking about who are the people in Laguna Honda Hospital, so I want you to think of a pie chart, imagine a pie chart, and the patients in doing primary care are by age group. the 25 to 44 are 6%. The ages 45 to 64 are 35%. And the age group 65 to 84, that's us, Steve, is 44%. 44%. And then 85 and above is 15%. So that's who's here. And by patients, there's there are people who are Russian, Vietnamese, Tagalog, Spanish, 11%, Chinese, 12%, English, 71%. The breakdown by is 20% Asian American, 26% African American, 18% Hispanic, and 29% white, and everybody else. And what Steve was saying earlier, I'm going to underscore this: the patients by payer source. This is what Steve was referring to. 96%, 96.5% of that is funded by Medi-Cal. Medicare is only 1.9%. The uninsured are 0.6%. Isn't that incredible? So there's your data to walk away with. So that's who's here at the Laguna Honda Hospital. And let's hear it for our nurses. Let's all give a cheer to our nurses at Laguna Honda Hospital, who are the ones who are on the line, in the front lines every day for this, okay? All right, all right. And by the way, our group is going to come and play a gig here and make everybody happy and dance.
Okay, well, I want to thank you all for coming today. We're going to continue this effort, this solidarity effort, this effort to defend the Laguna Honda patients, the Laguna Honda workers, and to stop the discharges. May the 19th is not very far away, and they should end the discharge demands, and they should say to the patients here, the residents, we are not going to threaten your lives again. The stress that these people are under, these patients and residents under, is tremendous. When they're worried that they're going to be sent someplace else in their fragile condition, they know that people have already died. So what we're saying is, the discharges have to stop. They have to go back to 712 beds, and the $26 million that they spent for consultants should be going for hiring workers, doctors, and professionals who know how to run this facility. Thank you all. Solidarity. Stop the discharges. Defend Laguna Honda.
Stop the discharges now!